Our second story now. Iraq's Prime Minister says the recent gains against ISIL militants in the country have been achieved by Iraqi forces and not through American airstrikes. Haider al-Abadi says the victories are due to the effective coordination among security and intelligence forces, the Air Force and volunteer fighters. Abadi also says up to 1 million volunteers have registered to join the fight against the Takfiri terrorists who overran parts of northern Iraq. He made the comments while visiting the holy city of Karbala, where millions of Shia Muslims have gathered to mourn the martyrdom anniversary of Imam Hussein, the third Shia Imam. Well, for more on this, let's go to Washington and talk to James Jatras, former U.S. Senate foreign policy analyst. Welcome to the program, sir. Mr. Jatras, just how much has the so-called U.S.-led anti-ISIL coalition been effective as it claims to have been, as opposed to the efforts by the Iraqis themselves?
Well, it doesn't seem that it has been. Even those who are supporters of the campaign, and certainly its detractors point out, that air power alone can't accomplish much of anything without ground forces. Now, of course, there has been a lot of criticism of the Iraqi army, which of course was trained and armed by the United States for its early poor performance against ISIL. Perhaps that is changing, or perhaps what we're really seeing now is more of a popular mobilization of people in Iraq who realize that this is a life and death struggle for them. As you say, there's large numbers of volunteers who are turning out here, realizing that they are fighting not for a state, not for an army, but for the survival of themselves and of their families. So I think maybe that's what we're beginning to see now here in Iraq.
And do you think the West will send ground troops to Iraq or not?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's necessary that local forces need to step up and defend their homes, defend themselves and their families. I think it's clear to most people that Iran is supporting the Iraqis in resisting ISIL. And we're even beginning to hear some voices here in the United States that we need to be talking to the Iranians. We need to find a way to coordinate with Iran in struggling against ISIL, because air power alone simply can't accomplish much.
And how much does this show that there is unity between different religious and political sects in Iraq, as opposed to what some say the conflicts in the Middle East, and in particular in Iraq, are sectarian?
I think obviously there's a sectarian element to these conflicts, but those can be overblown. We saw the other day, for example, where several hundred members of a Sunni tribe were murdered by the ISIL terrorists, for want of a better word. I think that's got to be a sobering mind for other people in Iraq besides the Shia majority, for people in the Sunni community and in the Kurdish community to realize that they may have their differences, but if they want to stay alive, they've got to deal with these people. They've got to do something about these people.
All right, James Jatras, former U.S. Senate foreign policy analyst from Washington. As always, thanks for your thoughts there, sir.